to our online followers. Can you imagine? But anyway, we are on now. And because I'm not even seeing any comment and all of that, and I'm like, well, what's going on? So sorry, apologies. We started the show long since though, but unfortunately, the producer was busy with something. So we elect representatives and senators, right? And some of the ordinary reason that just you don't have to learn all of the book or be educated to the highest degree that you at least understand for why we elect these people is simply because all of us can go sit down in a place there and then decide for the country or make decision, or because this representative democracy to have our say and our views and our perspective on how we want government to go and all of that, right? So the legislature is established, to have national conversations about the direction of the country. Where we wanted to go, when the executive envisions something, right? They take it to the legislature and these things are debated. So our representations are there, whether at the level of the House or the Senate, right? To represent our perspectives. And this is why it is very important on our system for these lawmakers to always go back and have consultation with the communities, right? With the districts, the constituents, right? The county. They have forums where the people's views and perspective can be mainstream into whatever decision they are going to be making. Even though most times these things are not practical, when people are elected as lawmaker, or representative or senator, and they feel like the law all unto themselves, simply because we elect people who are misfit, and then because of their incompetence, they're insecure to hire the right people around them. So we're not getting actual representation as a country and people. We're basically just conforming to the electoral cycle of going to the polls, electing lawmaker, but whether the purpose for which these people are elected, they themselves don't know. A lot of them don't know, right? And then the electors ignore, these reasons for which you send people there. And we just get any Tom, Dick, Harry, just, they emerge, they come out, and that's what. So society always have to settle for the limitation. So society always have to accept that they don't know it and accept it at their level. But now, it's becoming disturbing, especially now. When in time past, people argued that, look, our presence here is to represent the Liberian people, and we want national conversation and discussion to be held in the open, and we have nothing to hide, and all of that, so on and so forth. So since the 55th legislature resumed or began after the election, it has been it has been observed that a trend continues there, and with the continuation of that trend, it is ultimately denying Liberians the purpose of ideal representation. So I'm going to read this report on this, and that has got to do with this open debate, the issue about open debate and executive session. Having open debate and executive session. During the 54th, while Senator Abachi presided as the president pro tempore, right? The likes of Yombly, Kanga Lawrence, Darius Delon, Borcha Singbe, and other critical pro-CPP senators were vehement that public discourses have to happen in the open, and of course, these issues have to be debated, with record system, and everything has to be transparently done. But now they are in charge. They are in power. The question is, how are they running the Senate? How are they running the Senate? Is it open? Is it transparent? Is it accountable? Is it different from what they criticize? Is it better than what they criticize? Right? Because we're afraid to have a rubber stamp legislature, even though it is arguing some corner that we already have, because nothing critical happens there. We witnessed at the lower house when Representative Priscilla Cooper raised a motion, and I think a communication that she submitted to be discussed with regards the military, planned eviction of families from 72nd, right? The speaker turned it down because that was a critical discussion, and you all need to know, fellow Liberians, the Speaker of the House, and those of you that have family in 72nd and all that, your lawmaker, as much as it was belated, and she also sat there and refused to engage the relevant authority, and in real time, she sat there and waited for these things to happen. There was this trending video of a business owner there. When I think she visited the Capitol building yesterday, crying, literally, on camera. Like everything is, but guess what? She's a rescue woman. The whole business, all of them voted for rescue. Right? But guess what? They are Liberians. So we have to have a government that look out for the people, irrespective of who they are. But these were the elements pushing for change and saying that the system was not in their interest then. But now the system they brought that's supposed to be in their interest is going for their homes and their land and their businesses. She claimed 500,000 worth of establishment. And the regime said the only thing they can do is to send bulldozers and break it down, careless. Because you know why? You have an unfulfilled man who became president. He does not know what it takes to be successful. He does not know what it takes to establish something. So he cares less about, he does, the man is not aware of what people go through to build establishment for themselves. So he's prepared to send the army, y'all go there and move the people, break the people, and stuff. So when you see the speaker, right, ignoring these kinds of people-centered concerns to shield the executive, and he does not entertain any conversation on the floor that have got to do with issues that are critical on decisions that the executive's taking, then that means you have a rubber stamp legislature to a larger extent. Then you go to the Senate. What is happening there? Are we enjoying the kind of representation we should? So now, Inside Liberia did an investigation around these. It's Senate reporters. Liberian Senate in open defiance of its own standing rules while constantly holding executive sessions. Right? But now they've duped the executive session as consultative meetings. And according to this investigative report, your senators, when you think they are going to represent you, you know what they do? Since Yomli became pro-tempore, they, according to their rules, they're supposed to begin session by 10 a.m., lasting up to 2 p.m., right? But they're done. Senators will drag their feet. They will go there. They don't care about the people and stuff. And, the focus is no longer, all these things are not holding anymore. Just to tell you how the people don't care about you. And when you think they're providing representation, absolutely not. They're in bed with the executives. And what do we have to want to go to session 10 o'clock for? So now they replace it with consultative meetings. So the pattern that's been observed among your senators since in the leadership of Yombly and Dillon is that senators will rather converge in the Yombly office and they will have consultative meetings that will last for 3-4 hours some days. 3-4 hours. Right? Entering into the statutory time that's allotted for the Liberian people job. They wouldn't do that. So they will be in the places for all along. And it has also been observed that when they leave from there, in the executive session, you see the senators coming, all of them coming together, and then they will enter the Senate chamber, right? the plenary, they will enter there, and when they enter, sometimes in less than 20 minutes, in less than 10 minutes, 30 minutes, they will adjourn. And critical matters that are on the agenda, they will just defer. Bam, now the gavel, the worker, they go also. So journalists covering the place are very concerned. They say, but this has not been a pattern. The Liberian people are losing out. So is this that this is just staged? They will go and have all their concessions. They will most likely, make their decisions, the compromises, right? Because Yombly normally visit the president's office and then she'll come. So all of them will go Yombly office, they sit on the talk, they agree. If the envelopes ought to go around, the envelopes will go around. The interest is supposed to be guaranteed, interest will be guaranteed. So then no need to come sit down in a place there and fight over issues to make sense. Even though the purpose of their being there is to argue national decision and come out, right, with feasible one that benefit the vast majority of the country. But these things are not happening any longer under Yombly Kanga Lawrence. Right? So it has risen eyebrows. And it is a very important and critical issue to look at. The Liberian Senate constitutionally referred as the House of Elders is increasingly operating in blatant violation of its own standing rules, raising serious concerns about leadership, discipline, transparency, respect, and adherence to the revised standing rules of that body, which should not be the case. You make your rules. The rules say come to work 10 o'clock. The Liberian Pro work should be done between 10 to 2 p.m., right? And you violate it, you ignore it, you're running your own show. And we, the media, will have to say that so the Liberian people know this particular 55th legislature, they're not working for the Liberian people. They're violating their own rules, right? Particularly the Senate under the spotlight, because the horsepower is rotting. Richard Kun, imagine in your country you take a Richard Kun and make him speaker. What do you expect from there, right? The man who does not have confidence in his education, his personality, he has inferiority complex. He's a bootlicking guy. Since the inception of the 55th legislature in 2024, the Senate, under the stewardship of President pro tempore Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence, has routinely conducted late sittings during periods officially designated for regular sessions. What that means is that they turn the constitution, they turn the law, say, senators, all the other thing you're doing, that they turn here your fund to work for the Liberian people. They, your senators that you have, they have deliberately, right, willfully abused those rights of the Liberian people and their counties that they're representing. They don't go to session during those periods, right? Because they don't care. They just don't care. So they can be breaking your home. You have a senator in Monserrate that wants to be president, right? He has not uttered a thing about what's happening in Satan. He has not said a thing about 72nd. Neither all of the demolition exercises and the fact that people have been rendered homeless. So the question becomes, what is the level of check and balance that they are providing in preserving and protecting the interests, safety, and protection of the ordinary vulnerable masses? But they gave in. So they sit as spectators and watch, because all of us can go to the senator and say, oh, Mr. President, Mr. Public Works Minister, or Mr. This, while we understand the need for this, but we believe that in accordance with the law, this is what the law requires in removing people who have stayed over such a period on public land, and for the government to reclaim it, the government has to consider some humanitarian packages for the people for relocation, because remember, it is the constitutional duty of the government to ensure shelter for its people. You have senators who are not interested in these kinds of conversation. All they're interested in, they just want to be in bed with the president, collect their envelopes, have their businesses deal with concessions in the country, have their checks assigned to multi-million-dollar concession company with the government not taking any action and all of that, right? We're not enforcing the conflict of interest, requirements under the code of conduct. The government ignoring all of that, and so when they go to pay back, right, they ignore some of the hideous violations that are being perpetuated by the executive authority in the land. And then who becomes the victim? You, our people. Baby mothers are sleeping in the street. The elderly are fainting in the street. Right? Kids cannot go to school any longer. Over hundreds of thousands of them. If you break over 400 to 500 homes in a community, what becomes of them? What has been the intervention of central government, right, to addressing this situation? We have a $1.2 billion budget. What intervention has the disaster management made? Right? Well, what have we heard from the National Housing Authority? Absolutely nothing. What kind of system we have that does not work for the people? Rather, it's working for a few. According to Senate's standing rules, regular plenary sittings are held on Tuesdays and Thursdays, commencing promptly at 10 o'clock a.m. and adjourning at 2 o'clock p.m. You hear? That's what their own rule says. But what have they been doing? Unless the only way this rule can change, unless a majority of senators formally decide otherwise. However, investigation by this paper reveals a troubling departure from this requirement. And it's absolutely irresponsible on the part of our senators, who are supposed to be elders, to be flagrantly violating their own rules, and of course ignoring the concerns and plight of the Liberian people that are so burning, and allowing and perpetuating all of these mayhems against the Liberian people. The people that voted for you, gave you this life that you have today, gave you the power that you're enjoying and abusing today. Sessions are frequently convened as late as 12 o'clock noon. What the pattern has become, right, today, instead of 10 o'clock, you see them coming from their secret meetings by 12 to 1 p.m. Sometimes 12, sometimes 1 p.m. Or even beyond 2 o'clock. Sometimes they will come after 2. While journalists and other independent people will be there based on the issues that are supposed to be discussed. They will be seated. Stakeholders will be there. And it will be after 2 before you start to see senators coming. Minutes and PM, often lasting no more than few minutes, and outright mockery of the rules senators are soon to uphold. What that means is that when it comes this late, and session will last for 10 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, and then they adjourn, which is a clear mockery of their own rules. If they cannot be responsible enough to respect their own rules that guide their conduct, then what say you about the general Liberian people concerns and interests? A glaring example occurred on Thursday, January 29, 2026. Thursday, January 29, 2026, when the Senate convened at 1:30 p.m. and adjourned by 2 o'clock p.m. How many minutes? 30 minutes. And what does the law say? The law says they should come 10 and adjourn 2. That should be how many hours? About 3 hours, right? 3 hours of national deliberation is sufficient. But then you reduce that to 30 minutes. 30 minutes, what time they finish doing roll call, finish doing all they want, 30 minutes, finish, say, let's go home. So that is to tell you that your senators have not been working in your interest. So they have programmed themselves in ways that anything that comes, it passes. Anything that comes, it passes. So there is no sufficient time for real quality debate on the issues. Almost everybody have compromised and they come out to paint a picture of themselves. But the question is, what is happening inside there? Forget about what they're writing on social media and what they're saying at intellectual forum or what they're saying when they make appearances on radio. Those ones don't matter. What matter is, what are you doing inside there in 30 minutes? And all of them, senators, right? Another one which was called, another one was that was even more disturbing was the Tuesday, February 3, 2026 sitting. This going Tuesday, which was called to order at 3:03 p.m. Imagine, senators leave their house to go deliberate for 11 people. So what the question is, what they can be doing all the while? They will say 10 to 2. They didn't even go there 2. They went after 3 minutes after 3. They enter. But guess what? Just when they enter, 3 minutes after 3 p.m., they adjourn at 3:23. 3:23 for a mere 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, what sound public discourse or conversation or debate about the Liberian people issues will be with all of the plethora of concerns and things that you're seeing. So I'm just bringing this out to let you know that all the crowd you are crying around here, the people you elected as leader don't care about you. They don't care. They don't even consider them. Because if they were considering them, there will be the time allotted for us, the Liberian people, they will be utilizing it fully, and we'll even see them going beyond. A mere 20-minute session in which all substantive agenda items were deferred. When they enter there, all the core issues, and I have the agenda here, I'll read it for you here, some of the things, right? All those agenda items, they defer everything. So today is Thursday now. Today they're getting one agenda. So what are they going to do again? Maybe based on our conversation this morning, they will decide to be responsible and act in accordance with the rules, right? While communication on the president's deck were casually noted. Beyond late sitting, deeper governance concerns have emerged. This investigation established that many senators routinely report late to the Capitol. Many senators, they go to work late. They ain't get time for you. They'll be passing around doing other things, but guess what? They will be justifying why senators should take 15,000 of the Liberian people money. Why they should get 45,000 vehicles? Why they are taking over $300 to $500 gas slip and scratch card? And they're taking that, they're going to work late. They control no accountability here. The people are weak. You can't do this thing in Ghana. You can do it in Nigeria. You can try it. How dare you take the country gave you all this money and you're abusing them, slapping it in their face? Eh? You're going to work late. And when they get there, they sit for 20 minutes, they adjourn, they defer everything, they move on. No critical critique, no proper oversight, no proper check and balance. The executive is just acting loosely. Nobody's calling them to order. The Liberian people are complaining, but with no redress. People go there, they present petition, and it is at the point where the Liberian population is growing protest fatigue. Because you're protesting for change, you're protesting for your concerns to be heard. If you've done it severally, but absolutely nothing comes out of it, nobody has interest. The senators see you as less busy people, right? So that is it. Routinely report to the Capitol and spend hours in closed-door meetings at the office of the President pro tempore Yomli Kanga Lawrence before proceeding to the chamber. These gatherings, often described as consultative meetings, are held away from public scrutiny and appear to function as de facto executive sections. So they're doing kuku jumuku, where the librarian people job. You're not inside, you don't know. The few of them go in there, secret meetings, right? This practice is strikingly similar to the controversial closed-door executive section that characterized the Senate during the tenure of pro-tempore emeritus Abachi, a system once fiercely opposed by Montserrado County Senator Darius De Leon, who openly fought for its abolition in the name of transparency. But ironically, under a government senator De Leon strongly supported, such closed-door deliberations have resurfaced, this time under a different label, and his silence has been conspicuous, of course. And the silence of reputable people we respect, like Amar Kone. You know, some of us argue that we needed this caliber in the Senate to change. We needed these people with the vast governmental experience and international exposure to go to the Senate. But what are we seeing? The same old thing continues. Political observers argue that critical decisions are now effectively made behind closed doors and under compromised atmosphere. In the pro tem's office, they go there, they compromise all the critical issues about the country, and they can't also get for showmanship. And 20 minutes is enough. Oh, gentlemen, yeah, we go outside. They finish. The media doesn't get anything. The observers don't get anything. Independent and international friends that come to cover, they don't care anything. Because nobody knows. We just see decisions taken. Right? Leaving debate on the Senate floor as mere formalities, staged for the camera. That's the place that's supposed to be a forum for critical national decision making, has turned to a stage managed forum where people just go, oh, Senator, you know, yeah, oh, yeah, my man is Speaker this, Senator, oh, you Senator this, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll defer that one, yeah, remember. Nonsense. And more end, look at the paycheck, look at the benefit, look at the allowances, look at the travel slip, look at what they are getting from the country. And Labor is down. Over 20 years since the war, we have failed on health care, we have failed to deliver electricity, we have failed to deliver water, we have failed. So what do we have leaders for? You're not solving any problems. So what is the major problem in Liberia? You look at it and say, oh, leadership has fixed and addressed. What? Point to it. This behind the scene governance, critic one, has dulled the edge of opposition lawmakers, even those who are supposed to be opposition lawmakers, senators in particular. And they have been reduced plenary sessions to scripted performances rather than genuine forum for national deliberation. As the Senate continues to disregard its own rules with apparent impunity, the larger question confronting the Liberian people is, if the House of Elders cannot respect its own laws, how can it credibly hold others accountable? How can it credibly hold others accountable? If the Senate is doing this, if the Senate is abusing their own laws, what do you think, folks? Let's take calls. At 8:30, our guests will be coming in, and then we'll have other conversations. 0776-104-104, 086-500-104. The numbers to call, and you will be live. Let's hear your thoughts. Knowing that this is what's happening. That's why they're breaking your home. You're not hearing nobody talking. Good morning.
Good morning to Freedom FM, and good morning to my peace-loving people of the Republic of Liberia, and good morning to you, dear brother Abu Sherif, in Liberia. The need remain constant and punctual in this command this great Thursday morning. Abu, it's so disappointing and frustrating to us. Those who we voted them, we casted our fingers to them to be able to get a proper representation. They are embedded because they are after their self-attachment. They are not providing any provision or proper representation to our country. Also errors are going to violate all of those clauses that are mandatory to our constitution.
Okay. Thank you very much. Imagine we're in a country where we have 2 driver license in the country. The senators, they're not talking about that one. They're having secret meetings and denying the Liberian people the time. Hello, good morning. Good morning. You have to move away from your monitor.
But to see our people doing what I think is like going to acting, it is not helpful. Very serious now. Can you imagine who are those that will be asking those critical questions to the executive? Who are those? Who elected people to do these things for? And you take the Liberian job to be played. Do you know what Liberians are going through? It has very know what Liberians are going through. What people are going through. You saw that woman crying on camera yesterday. Again, I don't look at the political side, but the human side. It's a Liberian invested after a money. Amen. There could be no second thought to
see the picture of this baby mother sitting out in the street feeding the baby. And you have people calling themselves leader, and they can't even deliberate about those ones.
Taking 15 kids.
Then they're listening to say, I mean, what is going on? Good morning, let's hear you. And young place a woman. Good morning.
I'm just a soap, and I come from this.
Go ahead.
This is why when we are electing leaders, especially president, elect somebody that will listen to both sides. We have government in the past that opposition lawmakers need to come on and challenge and come up with decisions. And even when president send and knowing that somebody has sent it, opposition lawmakers will challenge that and that person will be denied. No problem with that. But we have leadership where when you opposition lawmakers want to say anything, they want to have their life. Science is going to function. People like to matter. So you can't be you just go elect 5 presidents and say they the mansion they want to put our life at risk. You don't do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a view. Let's hear you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Abu, and good morning to Haggai.
Morning.
My name is Thomas Weah, and I joined your conversation from electoral district number 14 to be precise to So Abu, if Laprode will progress, we need a very robust legislature running from the House of Senate down to the House of Representatives. But when you have...
But the caller before you made a great point that the president is witch hunting critical voices. So it has made senators and other lawmakers to just, bow to the golden statue and they're not representing properly. Because when you be critical, they go after you.
Abu, it's just like they are not sincere to their very self. Yeah, they are not sincere to their very self. So when they are very boss, there's no amount of witch hunt. We're scared in away from doing the rightful thing of the Liberian people. But they sit, and then all these emanations of people's properties, businesses are being broken down. None of them are raising concern. And it is saddening to have the House of Senate that seems to be the House of error. We'll be going to their secret sections and compromise other things before going to the rightful sections to do the Liberian job. It is very saddening. It is very frustrating for us. We need a very robust legislature. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning. 2 more calls. Good morning.
I have to call back. Let's look at speak of over and other things. The Liberian people are just standing with those people. The people alone are struggling with it. The people were there trying to do the right thing for the law. And today the government has no issue. They have no evidence.
So your argument is when the people decide to be critical and the government go after the Liberian people, don't stand with them.
Yeah, they got to stand with them. They got to stand with them. They got to go back there. When they bring the call, how many people that go down to go stand with them? Before when they carry opposition people to stop it, you see they are supporting them there. No government will intend there when they have a right to do so, but the government is so senior. So you expect people to be talking for you. When they're talking for you, yourself wake up. Be with them. They're talking for you. But just tell them that they are not be there. Police put them when they were beating them in a terminal building thing. How many like people going there?
Okay, thank you very much. I think you're making a great point too, because it's a two-way.
Good morning.
Good morning, David.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, Abu. And Good morning to your listeners. This is David King, and I join you from the Rousey Hour this morning.
Go ahead.
You know, Abu, what is happening in our country?
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, what is happening in our country? It seems to be like we are in the era of 1990.
David, they are Rafi Howitting. What happened again? Line breaking.
Yeah, what wrong my line? Am I okay?
Yeah, you're okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know, Abu, when people feel disenfranchised in the country, they took the other approach. That is to go back to the bushes and bring civil unrest. And we are sitting here like we are on time bomb. You see the thing about land grab, one of the major conflicts they have been about land. They have been about land. Today you think it's about land. The last time we heard Roger talking about it, they want to take Alaska.
It doesn't seem an emergency to your leaders. They don't say anything.
Yeah, because they are insensitive to the plight of the Liberian. And this is the reason why the Liberian people should keep the fact that tomorrow, when they are going to election, they should know the type of leader to vote for.
But they say it is argued that Liberian people don't even stand with people who stand for them. So,
yes, they don't stand with people like the caller said. We are not standing with Kofa and Abu Kamara and Dalo Sibo, who have been fighting for something that they did not do. Our brothers and sisters, our language become back. No one Liberian talking about the issues that are confronting Speaker Kofa and that of Abu and other people. But we're sitting here and allowing the government to still freely in the space, but like it is an entitlement. So this is why they have to do what they are doing to our country. It is wrong, and as such, Liberians should rise up to the occasion and make this field government to understand that they are still nothing they have to offer, or they are bringing people's life into total destitution and this.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so that is it. We can keep having these conversations on, and the views will be coming in. And it's a two-way street, and I agree partly with the caller that it has to be like that. And I think I've always said it here that we have demonstrated weakness as a people. And for some reason, you're there, you're the one going through it. And even if you decide to take the ultimate risk of standing up and challenging, right? These very people that are victims that you're talking for, they'll reach a point, they'll turn their back on you. And activism and advocacy is backed by the people. It has to be supported, right? You have to be willing to stand behind those that are there. And that's what you see. Voices are getting deemed in the legislature. Critical voices are getting deemed. You all know clearly that like Fonati and others were wrongfully accused. Wrongfully accused and implicated in something that the government itself cannot prove. And up to now, it drags on. So what motivation does it give these people in the future to want to stand the ground in defense of the country and the laws of the country? So when they have the opportunity, they will compromise. Because you know what, they're looking at history. The country, when you stand for the people, when you stand for value and things, and the system, you stand against the system, stand come after you, the very people don't see fit in it. So we're reaching a point where Liberians, you all can just be on your own. Government and people who are powerful that get money will do anything to you. They will walk scot-free. The government will come, they will beat the hell out of you. Nothing will happen, even though their actions will be against international human rights law and, of course, our own constitution and other issues and statutes. But nothing will happen because when government is acting freely and nobody's reminding them, right? They have similarly succeeded in stoking fear into almost everybody, and people are trying to, because self-preservation is a very key element in nature. So let's take break. Crime Stopper Liberia as we usher our guest, Mr. Xavier Bazigia, right, to talk other issues. This break. We'll be right back.
There are crimes in many places. in every community that you know, you can see. So if you see crime, report it. Don't take law in your hands for the right authority. That it can't take your law in. Crime Stopper here for us. We need safety to your door. Whether you rich or you poor. If you see a you must talk it. I mean you check. You wait for your safety. If you see it, don't keep it. You must call to report it. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us.
Crime Stopper Liberia is your community crime fighting partner. Don't take the law into your own hands. Remember, if you see a crime, report it. This is a message from your own self, old man Sam Sion.
Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us. To your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's stop it, crime for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and make it peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, let's.
Oh, yes, indeed. Welcome back. And folks, this is the Freedom Money Rise on Freedom 87.9, where we discuss those issues that matter most to Liberia's growth and development. And so we're back. To continue from exactly where we stopped. Like we told you, we have our guest in our studio already, Mr. Sevigos Bazigia, who's accepted graciously to sit with us and have breakfast on some of the most critical issues in the country. Let me go across the table to welcome my guest, Honorable Bazigia. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Abu, and thank you so much for the invitation. I'm grateful to be here. I still feel sleepy. It's not something I'm very familiar with. Waking early morning to get on a microphone. So it's a new adventure. So thank you so much for the invite.
My pleasure, and you're most welcome. And so, okay, so let's go into it. And but first of all, to begin with, most of you may have heard the name and what have you, but you just may not know, to a larger extent, who Sevigos Bazigia is. You care to talk to us about briefly? Who are you?
Yes, my name is Sioken Sevigos Bazigia.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 45 years old. I just celebrated my 45th birthday on the 5th of January, 2026. And I'm from Grand Bassa County. I'm a twin. I have a degree in public administration and business administration, magna cum laude, USA. And I have a Master of Science in leadership and change, over 25 years of experience in leadership, perspective and politics and humanitarianism.
Okay.
And also an award-winning academic elite, a creative leadership award winner, an activist, an advocate, a politician, a humanitarian, a leadership expert. Currently, I'm serving as the liaison to President George Weah, who I refer to as a great man walking, born to succeed, Liberia's miracle child, and the man who does the unusual.
Fair enough. And what a rich profile that is.
Thank you. We tried so hard to earn our path to success in our journey.
In 45 years.
Yeah. So in 45 years, we've been able to elevate our platform from beating the odds and then challenging the barriers and crossing bridges and making sure that we will fit in the society in every way, basically academically and practically. And without that, we wouldn't be here today.
In 45 years with all of these great achievements, one would imagine you must be from a well-to-do background.
Yeah, somebody will say that. Again, there are different perspectives of life. I'm 45, but if you've been reading from a diary or reading from my excerpts and expertise, you will find that my basic leadership perspective, I told my story. I don't really come from a well-to-do background as one may look at it, because I'm a Basigia.
Okay.
Maybe just to boast a little bit, a Basigia is of royalty. My grandfather,
but that's what say,
was a paramount chief. My father was a representative, and then so to speak. But my mother, that I grew up with, 100%, my twin brother and I, who's currently the vice president for NOCAD, Rick Basigia, who we will call Baba. We grew up with our mom. Our mom was very illiterate and didn't go to school at all, didn't know anything, but she knew what public service looked like. She would go around helping and working to earn what it is to get us to school, to give her an opportunity to compete with those who already had the fullness and the goodness of sufficiency. So, and today we can challenge those. We can compete with those. We can meet the sky, and we can reach the limit anyone can reach.
Your description of who former President George Weah is, the great man walking, the miracle child, all of those beautiful adjectives describing his personality. Talk to us about that.
See, before I got here, I published that I finally agreed to sit on a platform to talk to hosts on radio, talk show hosts, and what it is. But again, I've tried not to get on the microphone in these studios. Okay. I've not been going to studios for years. But it's come to the point that people reading from our pages and people also hearing from our personal podcasts want to also see us sit before a host. So I chose to come and sit before you.
Okay.
But the question is very necessary, because I'm very sure many people might not be familiar to the point we reach to describe such a person and such a human being. If we look at our culture, we look at our surrounding, we look at our environment, we look at our community, we look at our counties in the country, we realize that the history of this country will go bleak if we don't talk about George Weah. Really? I'm sorry to call him the way I call him. I don't intend to be disrespectful, but the point I'm trying to make here is that we will lose it as a country if we can't talk about George Weah. We won't be a country of memories. We won't be the country talked about. We won't be the country known. We won't be a country recognized. We won't be a country complimented if we can talk about George.
But we were a country before George Weah.
But that's what the situation is. America was a country before Martin Luther King. America was a country before Barack Obama. America was a country before John F. Kennedy.
But
those people have legacies.
Okay.
And it is basically the legacies of these people that people stand on. That when you hear this, is someone standing on the shoulder of someone to be great. That's what it is.
Okay.
Now, when this country collapsed, when this country fell apart, when everything got broken, when the system got damaged, and there was no one to look up to, there singularly came a name. And that name was George Weah. And I was just looking through Facebook, and then a speaker, and I think it's a guy representing
the ex-West Parliament.
Right. I listened to him, and somebody put that excerpt on. And this guy is quantifying. He's qualifying. I'm using two keywords, both of them sounding the same but different.
So let me just play it for our audience so that
they can know what I'm talking about.
What
where we got all these
about.
Before, because I never knew that guy before. But just listen to how he described George.
That's correct. So this is it. He appeared with our friend Julius here on yesterday.
Anything that you heard, you want to say something? In fact, I'm impressed because what we face in Guinea-Bissau, I believe that most of Liberian intervenants that have spoken in behalf of Guinea-Bissau, but let me just tell you something that is very precious. You know that I know George Weah. You know him? I know him. He was with Edwin when we was at the FIFA Congress in Zurich.
Okay.
And is there where I met him. And I consider him not 5-star gentleman, but 10-star gentleman.
10-star gentleman.
Yes. He has a lot of value. He's an exemplary legend. He's a living legend, and we must protect those who are living legend. Weah is a living legend.
Let me hold it there. This man is from Guinea-Bissau. He's not a Liberian. Have not directly, to a large extent, interacted with the legendary of this man. All of that, but he says this. So saying that we as beyond borders.
So let's, Sheriff, let's synchronize my thought, my leadership thought, and my description of Joshua, and with that of what he said. We both don't know each other.
Because most time people question your description.
Right, but this is the society we are in. Liberia is lifted to number 1, low IQ in the world. So I don't blame those people who don't agree with me at all. Because the situation is people don't read their history. People are not taught their history. People are not told what a legacy is. So most people in the dictionary pick up those long sounding words. They don't care to know the key words. Now, when you find out what a legacy is, then you get to know you should be pointing to Joshua, no one else, before starting your numbers. You should point to Josh before starting your numbers. So when you point to Josh, you are pointing to Liberia. Because everywhere around the world I've flown over 500 times to several countries. I've seen people adore the name, not the person. They haven't seen him, just the name.
Okay.
Now, outside of politics, Georgia is a whole beacon of hope to the world, and not just this small country. In politics, Georgia is described and quantified as 10 stars. No Liberian ever been quantified like that before. In soccer, where he dominated as the only Liberian, only African, only West African, he migrated from soccer to grab onto the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. How do someone do that? You cannot do that when you don't have a legendary legacy as been described. And that's what I said, outside of Joshua, you can't talk about Liberia. I know this country been founded colonial period time, some 1800, 1821. Then migrated to the Republican period, 1847. And several people coming from America becoming president before he came in. He was just born recently, if we would say. But his legacy separates him from all those who have ruled this country, from all those who have led this country, from all those who have done other things in different fields. Nobody, absolutely no Liberian, had done anything extraordinary to equate to what George has done as a Liberian in soccer than in politics.
And then the question is about what he has done, because most times the critics argued that Judge Weah, what? I mean, let's talk about politics. He's being equated to a 10-star general. On what basis?
I give you two perspectives of George. And again, I will maintain I don't intend to be disrespectful by calling him that way. But for the sake of the conversation, George was a soccer player. In that career as a soccer player, it's the only Liberian, only West African, only African to dominate the world and stand up firm. Up to today's date, he's been called by FIFA to serve as chair on racism. In 1993, he said, I should have been the world best, but based on the rules and regulations that separated us from those born in Europe, I couldn't get it. He stood up that time. People mistook the statement and said something that I had to correct them because they did not understand where he was coming from with the content and context. Now, migrating from 1993 to 2 years later on, when those rules were regulated, he swept all their, I'm using all in its plural form. All, not just one of them separated from, he swept them all. Then he moved on from soccer.
Okay.
He won the Arthur Ashe Award. He became named a good word.
No, but just before I want us to stick to soccer, right? Because we're trying to know why should everybody or most people agree with your description and others who have interacted with Mr. Weah, former President Weah, right? On the soccer aspect of it, one would say he conquered the war, coming from Gibraltar and all of that,
right?
But Liberia and Liberians, what can they look most times sport pundits will say, what have George Weah actually done for football development in Liberia? Where did he take football to, or athletes? Who has he ever benefited? It's only been about him, and become a world best, a European best, an African best, getting all of the award. At the end of the day, he come to Liberia. How has that translated into developing skills and talents and nurturing people?
Now, before I disagree with them that he doesn't owe anything to the country as a person, I would want to say all he's done before I disagree with them. Because as me being a leadership expert, I don't owe the country anything. I've been a Liberian, it's already okay. I've already given the country the fame as a leadership expert. My prominence in the world tells Liberia's a story. I've imaged Liberia. If you study leadership science, it's called imaging.
Okay.
So the first thing George done for Liberia, he imaged Liberia where we were called cannibals. We were described as eating each other. We were described as killing each other. We were described as murderers. During the period in review, he re-imaged Liberia. That time, by 1995, he dominated. 96, he was being named. The whole world shut down and took away the cannibalism description and now began to call us the George Weah country. That's the first thing we identified. When we leave the re-imaging of Liberia, we go to the human resource development.
Okay.
Now I did public administration, then I did management with the second highest honor in the USA. So I know what I'm telling you is exactly what it means. To look at George Weah and argue that he did not do anything, you must be a naysayer or a hateful person, an envious and jealous, a destructive Liberian. You must not be following George. By the time George had dominated the entire Liberians League and moved to Cameroon, 5 months later to enter to Monaco and then start to rule the world in Paris and moving forward, George would migrate to Liberia and play every time, risking his life. How in the world this man is making a whole lot of millions but will come to disarm? That's the second thing we need to look at.
Okay.
Leave his comfort zone. I don't know if you know any African or any player playing around the world who have left their comfort zone during the time of terror,
war zone,
right? And go into war zone and talk to warlords and talk to armed men and then disarm them, convincingly persuading them to never go back. Let's identify that. And somebody should tell me, based on fact, that this isn't a contribution.
Okay.
We move beyond the point that he risked his life, left his comfort zone, and we come to realize on contribution. The University of Liberia,
okay,
Josh did not go there. He didn't attend that school. Matter of fact, he didn't finish high school when he left. He always admitted to that. But by the time he earned his own income without doing anything negative, he came back to the school and had a higher scholarship in that school. People working in government today are direct beneficiaries. Most of them, 90% of the Liberians living in a generation where George Weah played. I'm saying 90% that went to school during that period did not have school fees. They struggled for things. He gave them bus that they did not buy. He paid school fees for people that he did not know.
And that is
hospital bills.
His country.
Exactly. How many people in the world do that? Just fewer people, and they do it for profits. George migrated from soccer to humanitarianism. He moved to refugee camps and sat into those places. He communicated Liberia to them. He asked people to listen and never feel hurt. He talked to them to remain calm and steady. He fed homes and paid bills for people to keep them to places where they were. How would someone else ever think that he did not contribute? You must be very, very biased and hateful. Now, when we move beyond this point, we also recognize that during the period in review that Liberia needed him most, he arrived. He will ask every player. Now, somebody wants to look at human resource differently. James Salensa Deba.
Okay.
James Salensa Deba is one of those who he took to Cameroon.
Oh, really?
Now, maybe James must call and say no. But James was taken to Cameroon. And then from Cameroon, he was taken to France, Monaco, then entered to France.
Really?
He did not go on his own. He played in the league where George played. George won the MVP, won the highest scorer position in that league that time, and left for Cameroon. And then came back here and took James Deba. He took Joe Nangwe. took them straight. If George was just about him,
and those were Liberian athletes,
competitive. No, listen, I want you to put some adjective to them.
Okay,
competitive Liberians that George felt were doing better than him. But how did they choose him? It had to do with discipline, commitment. So during that period, George had dominated this whole thing called Liberia's League, and he's in Cameroon. He wasn't selfish. He was asked questions. Are there some more people like you? He said there were people better than me, and there are people better than me. He came for James Salensa Deba. I'm emphasizing this because this man will go in public places and want to say that.
I'm not sure if James Deba has made these public admittance.
He will admit going forward that I'm speaking now. He will admit going forward. He must admit because he did not take himself from here. Nobody asked him to leave from here. It was basically the emphasis, extreme recommendation from King George that took him from here, took Joe Nangwe from here, and then the rest, that Thomas Koyo were taken out of some other country, and they had to take Chris Red to Europe. They had to take Prince Day to Europe. They had to take Kelvin Singlet to Europe. This is called human resource capacity. Which one would you prefer? A soccer pitch that you had to grow up on and keep struggling, and nobody's here to take you from here? Who was coming here anyway? Which agent was coming here?
So for those of you that have always asked, women, what have George Weah done to promote athletes and footballers in Liberia? It is news for you that some of the people that you even pit against George Weah are people that he paved the way for.
Exactly. And I would challenge them if they will call. I would sit with them here and tutor them, and because they might not know they were taken from here by George. They think they were sort of celebrities that they came for. Ain't nobody came for them. George was taken from here basically by people who spotted all of them together and picked George. He came back and said, these guys are still good to work out there. He took them there. These people were hosted. I said this today in the public and where I'm sitting now. These people were hosted in George's house.
Even when they left from here.
In Monaco. They left with him in his house. He financed them. He took care of them. How much more do Liberians want to hear about a man who did everything for friends that he wasn't obligated to? He told them they stayed in the house, he financed them, he fed them, clothed them, and then formed contracts for them, and then they all separated. He even risked his relationship for that. Are they saying to us, this is not something worthy to be listed into an archive forever? What do they want? What did they want? They don't want him sacrificing himself. That wasn't possible. He did everything, risking his relationship, risking his career, risking his family, and allowed them into territories they would never go in at all.
Yeah, on good.
Allow them into territories they would never go in at all. And they survived today. They earned incomes. They never even said thank you message. And some of them hated him for being nice to them.
And that's what I'm coming to. So, I mean, you've been around former President Weah for quite some time now, right? And I'm sure you might have interacted on some different level. I mean, his thought. I mean, are you okay? You getting me? Okay. What do you think come to his mind when some of these people that you paved the way for, you contributed to because they're your kinsmen, they're countrymen, and all of that, but then when you transition, they turn to critics, some of the fiercest critics, some of the people that politicians will use, right, to denigrate you and, of course, bring you down.
See, again, I'm a leadership expert, and I will give you those perspectives. George Weah Sr. is an empathetic leader. He's different. I've never seen anyone of his kind. He doesn't run into anger easily. He's not moved by the petty and the silly talks. He's not moved by what naysayers believe. If that was ever the case, many people would never see George. How many people see Zidane in France? How many people even see Salah when he gets to Egypt? How many people see Ruben in England? And this is something difficult. You don't see these people like that. I had to see them because I hang out with George recently in Washington, D.C. I would never seen them, God forbid, until I've gone from this earth. These are peculiar people. George is super peculiar. If these people are peculiar, who never even got the kind of leverage or the leverages that George got, George is super peculiar human being. He's not moved by the way people feel and think about him because people hate him and they're negative about him for no reason. I'll tell you this. George had never grown up in a place being beloved. And I know many people get confused with these things. He never grew in a place being beloved. George Weah was taken from a county meet camp. He went to play in a county meet. He never was allowed. He didn't play county meet. George went to survival. He struggled, but he was dominant. George came to Mate Barrow first. He struggled. He was dominant. He went to Invisible 11. He struggled. He was dominant. He was never.
So he was always surviving hatred and
in an
rejection.
In an environment that is tense, in an environment that is calm. Whatever environment you have, George is always calm. He's intelligent by excellence. He's a leader by excellence. He's empathetic. He's transformational. He's transactional. He's a servant. And so he sees people as they are. He respects you for your view and opinions. He accepts everything you say. He remains at a point where he's looking for the movement to seize. And every time George seizes these movements, he never fails.
Few people that have been very close to him will come out probably after the political disagreements, and they will say some things that this man doesn't forgive people. He's selfish. He only wants everything for himself. You know, we can go on to name some of them. Recently, Solomon George have been one man, you know, denigrating his name from place to place and all of that. But you are painting a whole different picture. What do you think motivate these negative views towards George Weah?
These are unnecessary comparisons because these people want to compete with a person they cannot compete with. If you were in a room with me, I went to school with some friends and they support the Unity Party today.
Okay.
And I'm from the CDC. And some of these friends I went to school with never matched me at all. I can boldly and bravely, courageously say this. They never match me. In the next world that we live in, they will never match me. In the 200 years that we all may be gone and come back to this earth, these folks on the Unity Party side that consider themselves brilliant, intellectual, and smart, they will never match me. But why? They see themselves as some of the big guys in town and are smart. And I tell them every time, you got low IQ and low self-esteem. You got low confidence. You're nothing. You just hiding behind some people's shelter and you think you are fine. I tell them straight in the face. And this is the situation with George and these people. They aren't the same. They're not on the same level in the human nature and in God's kingdom. They never. You're talking about Solomon and the rest of the people. They know Josh. They know the reality that Josh carries.
Solomon,
Sad, and James Dibad, whoever they are. I'm telling you boldly. See, I'm not a spokesperson for His Excellency President.
But you've come to know him over time.
I've known him and I learned from him. And I want to always be in his company without even trying to get a salary because I'm already benefiting from a man with grace. See, if you compare this man with any Liberian, you must have a very high IQ to do that comparison. It's not an ordinary thing to compare George Weah Sr. to anyone called Liberian. I'm telling you the real fact today. If this guy from Guinea-Bissau, who never actually interacted, you just saw him in Zurich, can tell you by just reading stories and profile, if the United Nations will read Liberia's history, but will pick George as the goodwill ambassador, the UNICEF, and the ambassador to Africa to talk about the HIV and raise money, George is the image of a country called Liberia that was founded ever since. If we did not have George, we would still be that little funny country unrecognized. I'm telling you. I don't intend to denigrate others who led, but they can match the records. If you go to America today, they're still talking about Martin Luther King, my brother. Sharif, they keep talking about him, celebrating him. They have a freedom day. They have Martin Luther King's day. You know why? They do that because
we've had a leader dupe as the darling girl of the West and all of that.
See, I got to accept that partly because if you're talking about Elaine, Elaine broke the glass ceiling. So you see, Elaine is in a different bracket, Sheriff. President Elaine Johnson Sirleaf is in a different bracket. I must acknowledge that. See, when I wrote my final papers...
So we have had people who've made name for the...
Right, but I'm saying marching. You go to school and you will see the professor put answers this way and put questions this way, and you hear he say march them orderly. So the word orderly means they got to look the same and resemble, and then they don't separate in any way. Orderly. So in this case, I must column Ellen Johnson Sirleaf as breaking the glass ceiling. She's a powerful tool, a powerful Liberian, brilliant woman. She shook the earth when nobody could. And why do I say that? Because I've seen some of her roadmaps, and I've seen her legacy because I've traveled the world.
Okay.
But when you're talking about matching these two, come on now. See, we're not boasting here.
Weah comes on top for you.
No, not for me. The word, I don't know whether you've seen what the word talks about this guy. I'm not talking Liberia's thing here. This country must have a special reason for, or few people in this country must have a special reason for hating George. No human being on earth will ever talk negativity against George Weah. I'm being boldly telling you the reality. This is not, I hear people say you praise singing. Now, I must define praise singing. Praise singing is presenting the false image when it isn't existing. Take that from me today. Praise singing appears to be when you are telling about somebody a particular thing that he or she isn't. Now, when you tell me that I'm praise singing, and if it's a fact, you better acknowledge, because the mindset of typical Liberian is that our praise singing is that we're giving a false image, false impression, a false proof of George, which isn't true. Because if you Google any Liberian for that matter, you'll be reading about George until you maybe wait for the next 200 years. It's never going to end. And his profiles are hard profiles. They're not ordinary. They're not simple. The only simple profile you get of the George is Gibraltar. It's Clarity. By the time he arrived at age 18, 19, he has closed the gap on those small profiles. By the time he passes Cameroon, he has claimed the profile. He's reached to a particular level on this earth that is measured not to even go for investigation when he reaches the gate of heaven. So when people don't know George, they are talking the way they talk, then I don't blame them, because our society has been equipped and they've been told that lies are the more magnificent thing to do. And they have posted us, number one, low IQ in the world. We have a lot of work to do to change the mindset of myopism. We have a lot of work to do to make people get to the place to understand who is a legend. When I wrote my final paper as a leadership expert, I wrote on two persons, like you mentioned. I wrote on Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and I wrote on George. I wrote on the topic resilience. When I talk about resilience, I categorize both and I classify them. Then I had to chronologically separate them. Then it came to a point that we had to put Ellen on the side. And then we start talking about George. Imagine, while talking about George, I was shut down in the class because Stockoff, the 1994 World Best Winner daughter, was in class with me. She stopped the class. Once she saw the picture and I started to elaborate on George, then the whole class shut down. And she said, "Do you know him? You really know this man? I never stopped hearing about this man. This is my father's icon. My father was a soccer world best. He plays for Barcelona. But he never stopped talking about this man. If you sure you know this man, call him." I said, "I can't call him. This is not a man sitting somewhere to call. This is a whole word by himself." He said, "My father has been looking for this man.
Okay.
My father, who became world best before this man, have been looking for this man." George was about to be president in 2017. I was finishing college, my third degree. And we had to find George number two, a man called John J. Jacobs. Yeah, and then that's how the conversation started again between Stockoff and George. Imagine in my class, I'm presenting to pick up an A, and I got A already on the way because my presentation was excellent. But I'm telling you this scenario so you can know. You can walk the earth as a Liberian and not recognizing
who George Weah
the journey of George and Liberia. You got to combine those two. You can separate them. He's passionate about the country. He's a human being, but he's so compassionate. He's so empathetic. He feels what people feel. He sees what people see. He shares with them like he understands the condition of this country. There will be some human errors. If you understand, when Moses was asked to go and take those people, he committed human errors. But God wasn't angry with the human errors, but when he wanted to do some extraordinary things, he didn't come back. But I'm telling you, this reality of the word, George Weah, is a far more very sophisticated Liberian. No Liberian will ever match in our history if we keep writing over and over. Okay. I don't want to dwell in those arguments that don't push no facts, the arguments that are separated from reality, the arguments that don't bring to us something that we will see genuine, but naysayers and bystanders, gossips and high-profile lies, they don't take us anywhere anymore. George is going to come back 2029.
Don't jump the gun. We'll get there. We'll talk about that. But before
about the streets,
before we talk about 2029, and of course his name is Sylvigus Bazigia, and of course he's talking to us about the politics, his boss, right? Former President George Weah and other critical issues in the country. At least we've dealt sufficiently about George's legacy in terms of a man who played football and conquered the world. What Liberia actually benefited from that. He talked about re-imaging and, of course, the human resource aspect where he connected Liberians to big opportunities through his soccer and, heroism and all of that. So let's come and Liberian.
So just before we transition, Sheriff, I did not mention to you that the only 2 AFCONs we went to, George coached the team. Whoever have that kind of legacy, George coached the team as a player.
Okay.
He coached the team. He was technical director and coached the team. But there was a coach named Coach, but he coached the team as technical director and took us to 2 AFCONs. Since the period,
meaning the only 2 AFCON we've been to as a country.
Exactly. You never gone there again.
Only when George was around.
When he was around, and somebody saying they were the best, he scored in all those games. Besides, he took people that he chartered flights, he paid ways, he transported people, gave allowance, and always gave per diems. He brought them to the country and took them back. He wanted Liberia to succeed. He struggled with Liberia in the dying times, and never ever will allow Liberia die. So that's the beauty of his contribution in soccer. Anyone who doesn't know, they must not be reading. We'll open the new class session. I volunteer to teach without taking pay. I will be feeding that group of people in that class until they learn.
Okay, so that's George Weah for you and all of that. For those of you that have been arguing and trying to figure out how to connect what George Weah has done, all of that for Liberia as an iconic soccer star and all of that. That's that. And then Liberia rewarded him. 2017, they tried in 2005, right? They tried, it wasn't successful. 2011, vice president of the country, it wasn't successful. 2014, they made him senator. Monserrato made him senator. And then they said that wasn't enough, right? We needed to get a taste of what the world sees in George Weah. They made him president in 2017. Let's talk about that journey, and then we'll talk about what happened.
And you see, in leadership again, we call that transitioning. And so because I'm an expert in this field and the only Liberian who mastered this field so much, and I can talk about it like I'm joking or I'm playing or I'm drinking the water. So when people transition, they transition majestically if they know what they are doing. So you got to find those keywords when they know what they are doing.
Okay.
So when George Manu, we are senior, transitioned from soccer, he saw the country drowning. Deeply drowning. It was falling into some dangerous zone. And we're losing everything around us. We have had...
Did he transition at his own volition or people made him to enter politics?
See, there are 2 things I'm going to say here. With unwillingness, nobody convinces you to accept their views. With unwillingness. So there are 2 things that happened. They convinced.
But there has to be the natural instinct.
There was...
to be a politician.
See, he's a natural leader. And he will know when he's needed. But someone has to petition you. Someone has to ask me. See, I'm from a political family. And we play soccer too. But if you check my family, I like to give my scenario because, you see, I'm trying to look at George's story and try to fit myself in how I made it here. I'm from a family that everyone was told they're better than me in most cases. In my family today, I can walk talking like I play the best soccer. Academic, brilliant. Now, George comes from a background where people don't understand him. They didn't take him seriously. They didn't allow themselves to understand him. So they felt it difficult to accept him. So when people saw in him the manifesto of leadership, they walk up to him and say, hey, are you sitting here in the country that is drowning? Are you going to be here talking and just watching from far apart or sitting in other countries when our country has been defeated? See, we are called cannibals, and our word is falling apart, and our children are unrecognized in places. Aren't you coming here? They were asking questions, technical questions to George. And then when he had to look around his shoulders, he got to look to his family. Then he got to look to where he come from soccer. He got to look to how he led to the advocacy of racism. He got to look to how he made Africans feel comfortable in Europe and other places. And then he realized he can't waste those gifts no more. It's saying he's no longer playing soccer. But he had to be willing to do so because no one convinces you if you are unwilling. So those two things had to interplay. So when people talk to you, petition it, you got to sit down in retrospect before you get involved, because you don't want to regret. Okay. And that's how George transitioned to politics. So his involvement in politics has to do with the feelings he had for Liberia, the passionate relationship, the nationalism, the patriotism, the goals he had, the objectives he had, and that's what brought him to politics. Now, when he got in politics, it wasn't just for fun. It was a mission. Now, when you go back to history, some of you read the Quran or read the Bible, you get to understand how Israel struggled.
Okay. Israel
struggled in a way where they never thought they would rise up again. But there came a time God decided to take control of Israel. Then after he would punish them, he would come back and take control. And he said, look, go down there. There's a family controlled by a man called Jesse. Mm. So I'm giving you this scenario to bring you back to how they went to talk to Judge to get involved. And there were handsome, tall, big, huge men coming forward. And God keep warning Samuel, like, are you not paying attention, Samuel? You need to pay attention. And Liberians kept making the mistake in 2005.
Okay.
And so God keep warning Liberia, are you not paying attention here? And then Samuel was doing the wrong thing again, asking for handsome, tall, big guys. And God was saying to Liberia the same way in 2011, aren't you paying attention here? And Samuel was also doing the same funny thing and things that didn't make sense to God. Until at a moment, God had to probably spank him and say, hey. And then when he realized that God was getting to him, he asked a particular question. Are there more or some more or anyone left in this family as kids? I feel there's something wrong here. These are not the folks we're looking for.
Okay.
In 2005, Liberians were made to make their own decisions, and they picked President Ellen Johnson to leave. But when we follow that elections, we know the story. 2011, we know the stories.
Almost like the story of Samuel.
Fine. When Samuel was doing these things that didn't make sense, and Israel was doing some of the things that didn't make sense to God, but God allowed them to play with himself until he decided to take charge. They brought in a boy called David. So in this scenario, after two different mistakes or whatever it was being considered, that we had a right to pick between good and evil, and we took what it was for us, and then President Elaine took over for 2 terms at 12 years. Even Boykai was vice president for 12 years after serving several other governments. God won others again. And in 2017, if you watch the massive sweep around the country, it was 15 counties though. George won 14 of them, beating his opponent 14 in a massive landslide. Never happened in our period over that time. And then when he came to power, you will watch an inauguration unimaginable. And then everyone who saw that inauguration knew there was a new day, a brand new day to describe. And you will see, you will feel, you could touch, you could know Liberia was on a new path.
Unprecedented.
This unprecedented inauguration led to havoc in the opponent's territory. They regrouped. The clandestine they regrouped. The destructively regrouped. They regrouped.
You mean the political opposition?
They were already smashed. So what they did was, from the day the unprecedented inauguration was held, the new day came. George Weah Sr. became President George Weah Sr. From the day he got inaugurated, the opponent regrouped. They became more dangerous to the land. They became destructive to the land. Similarly, in Israel. So David had a task. Now, George Weah Sr. had a task to face the opponent who didn't want to agree that they got beaten. To face an opponent, a group of people who felt entitled to controlling this country forever. So he had the task to control a country, to revamp the economy of a country, and to face these very hooligans and violent people who are destroying everything around here. Imagine in the last speech made by Ellen Johnson, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, she would say, this country, the status of corruption had led to vampire. I don't know if you were around or very young to listen to it. That was the last key word she made.
When she described corruption as a vampire.
Imagine. That was her last speech to leave the office of the presidency. And she was gone.
That means the place was corrupt. Extremely corrupt.
Right. And then she made another statement to that. Whoever gonna be taking over this country when I'm gone should be ready. It's going to be a Herculean task. And she was gone. Now, given that George won massively with unprecedented inauguration and taking the helm of power with that kind of statement being made, you would tell the rate of inflation, the rate of poverty, the rate of prostitution, the rate of illiteracy, the rate of unemployment, everything has skyrocketed before we arrived here. We had a struggle because 15,000 troops were gone.
But he had a duty to fix it.
That's what I'm coming back to. He accepted to fix it. He didn't complain. If you watch it.
And did he fix it?
Of course. When the president took over, you never had him complaining. Like these folks right now in power in 2 years who haven't been able to do anything on their own, living on our legacy and complaining and lying and saying the same thing, being repetitive. We didn't complain. Read our profiles. We were trying to analyze the problems. And we did. In October,
you took 6 years analyzing the problem.
I took 4 years to solve major problems and 2 years to solve another major international problem. See, we didn't just analyze problems all through. We were analyzing and solving. See, as a leadership expert, I study organizational data and I study predictive analysis. What I do with data, I analyze them. And when I analyze them, I give you responses. And these responses are genuine.
When you look back the 6 years, what are those areas you pinpoint to say George did his work? In
every columns, in every brackets, in every place that he walked and he saw necessary, there was emergency, priority, he solved problems. Let's go to roads. See,
yeah, go ahead.
See, this country, there were roads already, but there were presidents before Josh. 7 years, 170 something. When we came here, you see where Mr. President lived, His Excellency President George Weah, and the other president now, where they live is called Weah.
Okay.
I'll give you a geography and the demographics. It's a densely populated neighborhood, has always been blessed with big leaders. Harry Murray used to live there before, and other big leaders lived there before. But when George became president, he was footballer anyway. When he was living there, he became the first group of people to move there. When he became president, I will want you to go there and ask questions, do a survey, because that's what data calls for. That place was very dirty. Everywhere was muddy. Nowhere was beautiful. No one was building in those areas.
And the current president, who was vice president for 12 years, you mean George became president, the place was dirty and like that?
The current president, who was vice president, ignored the people. He traveled in the dirt because he had a brand new car every day. He rode in almost 15 cars. He went straight in his house and enjoyed the comfort. He's living on an alley. Where he lives is not where he's supposed to live. If we were following procedures in this country, he shouldn't be over there. Probably his immunity had covered him so long, that's why he lived over there. He shouldn't be there, to be frank. He shouldn't be living in an alley. That's where he is. That's not cool at all.
Yeah, and that's not he's the president.
That's what I'm saying. Before becoming president, he's been benefiting a whole lot of immunities because he's been minister. He's been every house he boss. He's been agriculture minister. He's been hanging around government. So he's been hiding behind immunities forever. It's 40-something years, my brother. You see, we don't say this just to be negative. We say it because they facts. So when George came to power, this dirty community called Rehab was revamped into a clean community. There's a Catholic school over there called Caroline Maguire. Put the students together. This guy was a teacher there, Cyrus. The guy to the fishery now, Cyrus Singbe. If Cyrus Singbe is honest, see, he's a big brother. We're friends, but not friend. Like we're not hanging out.
He's a UP friend.
And see, I'm from the CDZ, but I know him before the whole politics thing. Because I was a money changer. He was a teacher. And he would come and change a little salary right down the street corner. He worked with the Catholic adults at that time. So we just friends, but he older than me. So he big brother. So he would come down the street. But if he is going to be honest, yeah. I mean, Sarah saying, you see, I'm specific, right? Because leaders don't like to be caught up in the web. So I will call names to you and you go find them. And you collect your data. Do a survey on the names. If he's going to be honest, he will tell you how dirty that place was. If he's going to be honest. And he will agree with you that place was revamped, reconditioned by George Weah Senior as president. Sarah used to change his shoes like every time if he had. Because I'm not sure we all had shoes that time. But it was a dirty place. If you went there and came back, your entire feet, your entire shoes, and all your clothes going to be muddy. He and his best friend called Bosco Hammer. I call another name, right? So they used to teach up there. And then a big pop called Josh used to go and teach. They would teach their school and come in all dirty. Uniform dirty, shoes dirty, everything on them. Because of muddy, dirty neighborhood. Today, If you go to rehab and walk around the street and dance on the street,
it's a mini metropolitan.
That's why we called it the Miami. And then they started to lie because they don't understand analytical point of statement. Because when the man says that we live in a little Miami, that's what he meant. Because if you go to Miami, you walk the street, you walk in your sneakers, your Jordan clean, your New Balance, and everything is still clean. So go in that place now. The parents economically benefited from that role. They don't buy more shoes no more. Before, you buy more than 10 pairs of shoes. You don't even earn so much, but you can have fine shoes because the shoes get dirty and spoil early. Guru now, you can walk the street and maintain your shoes. It's a quota. You drive there, you ride a bike, you ride. So economically, the whole rehab benefited Good Road project. Now people building new houses, going way to Baptist Seminary, who are doing great job. The entire surrounding.
So he did roads.
We move from rehab and we go to Roberts International Airport coming to David Junction. I'll tell you this fun. See, I've been opportunity to see presidents. That's what I said, right? And then I'll be able to see Ellen Johnson Sally. She might not be familiar with how we met, but I saw Ellen Johnson Sally. So Ellen didn't take that risk. As resilient as Ellen, like I compare both of them in one of my ratings, right? Like I said in my last research paper. But Ellen comparing to Josh and saying it again, see, it's not something easy to match. Ellen wouldn't take the risk to build the road from David Junction to Ara because it's political. Who took the risk? A vigilant.
How is it political?
Because you're going to build a road from there, go in, you got to finish it, and people misunderstand it. They think you're going to break the house. They think you aren't going to finish it, and the road is wasting time, and things might happen humanly possible, and people misunderstand you. Now, like I said, this guy regrouped the same day we got inaugurated. They start to lie that people die on the road is not good, the road is not that. In fact, that road will not be built. It's not even sensible to build a road.
They say it was a death trap.
It was a death trap. Now you're working along with me. So that's how Elaine couldn't, with a third political eye, let me leave that drama. But George being vigilant, George being courageous, George being empathetic, a servant who knew how he traveled that road late night when he came for soccer games, how he came down to disarm when the United Nations would go for him and bring him in. He knew he needed a road. He started to build a road. Let's agree, it was a little delay because weather changes, the climate change and all kinds of things, but he raised the funding to build a road. The road went a very good mile before the incidents of losing camp. Look at Coca-Cola. Right here, Coca-Cola. If you know the demographics of Montserrat, Coca-Cola is around the Soul Cleaning neighborhood, near Mount Bagley. Then you got to come near the Pacopin, the Rayland. And then you kind of Police Academy, then Dupero Junction. Then you get a GSA Road, then before David Junction. I'm giving you a pure geography here. See, if you drew that contour and look at how far he came and where he did the description, the diagrams and everything he did, see the roundabout, you tell how George did extremely well in those periods. Short term.
He built that road.
Of course. I'm not talking about people who just come and jump on something and start running with. Like I'm in a class, right? And I'm deucing. And then somebody one day maybe tear period dues. I've been deucing this guy the first, second, third he dues, and then the final I'm going to do the whole first semester, I'm the dues. That's how it looked like. So we done those roles. And then we move into Broadway, we move into Caldwell, we move into Diggsville, we go on the Freeport, we enter into Buchanan City. On the fairground, there was no road before. We built B roads, we went to Foya. We enter Lofa, we started build roads. We enter places that bunk and then we enter Roberts Post. We start to move into territories to build roads. We signed all concessions to build roads all over the place. In fact, they denied us of some funding, thinking it was the best political move they ever made when we couldn't get an elbow map deal. Now they're running back to elbow map. We couldn't get certain deals. They're running back to those people. But we still managed, with the influence and leverage that George has, he moved into territories and made it happen, and we signed for good amount of roads. They are living on it today.
Social services and youth programs.
So when we move from roads, we'll take it to education. In education, it's a free school, free public university. I didn't go to free school. I'm 45. I finished high school about 17, 18. And I had to wait because I had difficulties between some situations I had. I think I should have been having maybe 2 or 3 PhD now if I was getting the support. But left is like that. And so I had to get to school years later on to go to Cottington. And then at Cottington, I had to do what I got to do. Then I migrated and then got ready for the USA and played soccer as well. Gone on national team so many times. But I've encountered the story of Josh. Josh was paying school fees. He understood the condition of the people before I'm president. One day, and I can remember, I think the rain was falling. The students got ready for the normal dues. And you know what the normal due is? To protest and request for what they justly deserve. They walk the street and block the foreign affairs. And you know how they do it. They do it casually, like they don't even care.
I know. I can remember. I was there. I was on campus.
Right. So they block the streets. They block the corridors. And no cars moving. Being the servant that I talk about, George Weah Senior knew the life those guys were living. He worked from up foreign affairs. While he's still renovating the executive mansion that was been renovated 12 years and it didn't finish, he's still fixing it up. He came from foreign affairs and walked the street, not to drive the street. With no fear, he stood before the students and asked them, what can we do to solve some of those problems? Not all of the problems, because it's a short term. One major problem that George did not forget, the school fees. Because Samitwe, Gafwan, and several other leaders, maybe the late Gould, and all people used to come to this man as a football icon, making the millions that he earned and giving it to them. He would distribute his money like he felt sorry.
There was scholarships and
he had the highest up to today's date. I can tell you that for free. I was on Cottington in 2005. He had the highest next to him was Benuna Ure. I was on Cottington. I can remember. He had the highest scholarship next to him was Benuna Ure. I still remember. I asked some Cottington boys. Yeah, they would be able to testify if they're being honest to the conversation. But he went to education. He saw it. There's a need. And then there was a free public school created at UL. And he set up a portal. Other public universities. But, we always call UL because it's an umbrella school. And then they created a portal system, which means you can be struggling online. Imagine. First time. And folks are still arguing he did nothing. Something must be wrong with those folks. See, like I said, they regrouped. And they regrouped on lies. They regrouped on how to defeat this guy, but they brought in unnecessary information that manipulated a contaminated system. When you see a society is being contaminated, which is like being polluted, anybody can ride on that society. And that's when we get the gullibility of the people. So these Unity Party folks who worked for 12 years, did nothing for the country, but little, decided to manipulate the people the same day we got inaugurated to lie to them that it wasn't a good thing to have a free school system. Our people fall for those kind of lies. Up to today's date, who's in the tragedy? Because the free public school was easy. You register and go to, and you don't pay no tuition. Which one do you want? And then afterwards, we start supplying and renovating buildings, creating avenues, providing scholarships, Morocco, Hungary, and other places, and students going abroad. During the period of WIEX, George was senator in 2014. See, I got a catalog. We might not finish some of these things. I'm going to try again to wake up from sleep early and come again. And maybe some of the other stations would like to participate in our dialogue.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think I'm waking up now to get to all of these stations.
We'll have to have part two.
Yeah. Because these stations have been calling, and I didn't.
Because it seems you have a lot to cover.
Yeah, because they've been calling, and I've just took the opportunity to start with you, and then we all can build the image together. But realistically, when this guy saw education as a trouble, he intervened. And that's the best thing of a leader, to transform lives. And that's why you're a transformational leader. He asked them, what can we do? Now, when they were hesitating, he knew their problem because he paid school fees over and over. He said, you're going to go to free school, free tuition. You register, go to school. You're not going to stand in line no more. I've seen you do it over and over. And then what I'm going to do is create a portal. You stay home and register. And life going to change. Okay. It changed immediately.
Those were things he did in education.
And then WIEC came. The case used to stay online. Imagine things that WIEC. We have massive failure all the time. Look at the history of George and today, and then 12 years and other years. Now, juxtapose those history and then reconcile it like a banker would do. And you will see between the cesses, you will realize that he did extremely well, registering Liberia on the map in West Africa during WIEC period. He provided for them funding, and then they don't need to pay fees because your mom and dad don't have it, so they don't have to worry about you paying fees. You're only going to stand right there and then pick up a pen and sheet and get ready. So you only got to study your lesson. And then there's something came in that he was studying allowance and all on phone, give direct.
Even study classes, you're paying people
to
tutor them.
Yeah, so by that time, you are Dean Sodi, and you have the most transformational leader in our contemporary time now, the president of Stars College, Latin the Dong. They were creative. They were very innovative in making this work. And they were successful in building schools in every corner and reaching out and changing lives in education. And then that was the case in education. We moved to agriculture, and we started helping the system, creating funding for people doing small farms. Go to Jenny Cooper, Zubin Cooper's big sister. They are the owner of Cooper Farm. Ask them. Ask her. And they will tell you exactly how it went. This Sarah Simba was working there at that time in PMP, and let you compare the two times and see how much did we do. Ivan Weezer was there, so you can reach out to him. He will be honest to you. We entered every system and we changed every system. We revamped every system. We made it possible. See, one very diligent thing we did, I heard them and they made it propaganda. And I don't know how Liberians fell for these kind of very, very petite talk. We built offices for government because we were rental. Imagine you're renting everywhere. I mean, you're wasting resources. Who told you you got to be renting?
What did you build?
Okay, I'm from the NPA. So I'm going to tell you what happened. I got in the NPS. You see, okay, before that time, before starting to build all these things, let me tell you what happened very quickly. In the period that we just got to power, October, just in that same year, October, George Weah Sr. ran straight to Dole community. He built a road. Why did he have to do that? He knew the condition of those people. He built a road over there. Then when you look at how he built a road, he did it like it was an emergency. He created a room for the people to move back and forth in that neighborhood, in Dole community. When did that happen? October, around the 18th. I've just come to country October 16th. But 2018, that's just not even a year later on when George started to do that job. October, he did that job right over there. I've come to country on the 16th, so I know. So he built that road. Imagine he would start to do those things just when he got to power, and somebody hasn't done anything while they're here for almost 3 years now. Something is sickly here. Somebody needs to be taken to a mentorship to know what leadership is. These people are failing miserably. See, George did everything systematically, and in every category, something worked out for us. See, let's go to housing. Housing, for example. You see the place we got Invisible Park, a recreation facility? He was going to job one morning. That's how leaders do. You think, you innovate, you create, you manifest your creativity. He saw that place, he used to play soccer, there was a dirty neighborhood. But you can't have the place living like that. Like Joseph Boyka born in Lofa came and started living in Weah forever. He can't point to anything there. But George can point to roads, George can point to housing, point to electricity in the place where they all live. Up to today's day, he's done nothing there. He buying houses from people. He driving people from closer to him. He building duplexes and paying for everything around him. And he says it's presidential immunity. But see what George did. He came to Invisible Park right here. He cleaned that place up. He restructured. It's the most admired touristic part of Liberia. Right there on the airfield opposite President Ellen Johnson.
Even though it seems lying in ruin now.
Because the people in power have no good mindset of the country. They're not patriotic, they're not nationalistic. They are not passionate about the people. They are hateful, they are envious. They are jealous of good things. We got almost 50 housing units built down there. That was managed by the protocol, the minister of with our portfolio that time, 50 housing units free. And then we moved to Sastown, we moved to Finnickley, we moved to River G, we moved to Grand G there. We built housing units, bomb content everywhere, bombing for medical practitioners. We did everything in a way where every area was feeling an import of what governance looked like. What caught the minds of these people to follow these people here today?
And that's what I'm going to in 2023 happened. You lost the election.
Right. So but these developments were not ordinary. Imagine raising the salary of doctors because we saw their conditions. These are brilliant people, sophisticated people you cannot underestimate. It was during our time Nando performed the first surgery. If you were here, I think on the brain, Nando, very brilliant doctor. He's one of the kinds, man. You can talk about Liberia in the medical sector now, and you don't talk about Nando. Thomas, I think it's Thomas Nando, doctor. It was during the time of George Weah. We take the glory. Man, that guy stood up and said, I can do this. He did. The word stood up and acknowledged Do. Now, what can we say about they and Do now? That's how people compare. The medical facility that we built, dialysis center, what have they built? That's how you compare. My teachers used to tell me to do comparative analysis. He doesn't say something abstract. Yeah, we built a dialysis center. We built we built a trauma center. What have they built in 2 years? We revamped the entire GFK. What have they done to GFK in these few years that they've been in power? We started a new redemption, almost finishing it. They come and jump on it. What have they done new that would the president asked them to tell us what they done? We started a hospital or something in Grand G there. We built a hospital in Bopolu, 100 bedroom. Now, before we move to your next question, let me bring you to a place of influence and leverage. Now, when you look at influence and leverage, that's why George has more than this man in power. For the day he won elections, he moved to France. He showed that he went to Europe. He came out of France with over $10 million in support. He started to build facilities. Boykai went to France. And he said he went to build relationship. Who's building relationship in contemporary time, Sheriff? In these periods where we all live in today, are we still building relationship? This is no colonial period.
It has to start with some sort of...
Sheriff, this is no colonial period. We've all now passed the stage of colonialism. Now we are a republic, we're a country, we're sovereign. We are friends. We go to the UN together. What you need to do is to leverage your influence, make good friends. Now, in my phone, I got good friends numbers. Do you think everything that I do it because I have money? Sometimes I distribute over 50 pairs of brand new sneakers. My friends that I play soccer with in the States that I graduated with, they give me sneakers. Some of them have stores in America. They give me clothes, they give me slippers. Some of them give me funding. Do you know the former Miss Trinidad Tobacco, Nakali Dyer, who participated and became Miss World? She became senator of her country, Trinidad. Is my friend. She even sent money for me to buy slippers and take it to people in Grand. Do you know what it takes for me to be the friend to Nakali Dyer? Nakali Dyer's husband was a police director for Trinidad Tobacco. But she's my friend. Tell them to show you their friends. They have no friends. They have no one. They know no one. Nakali Dyer became senator. Nakali Dyer became chairman. But this was a former Miss Trinidad Tobacco. She ran a big consultancy firm now. She's my friend. She had to trust me and send me support from Trinidad Tobacco to help kids here in Grand Bassa. I took it to somewhere in called Guillostown. Slippers. I will send you the picture. Slippers and food. Okay. But George went to France. He brought money. This man went to France. He brought relationship. Who's doing that anymore in this period? George went to the Arab Emirates where he played soccer. He brought 100 bedrooms. He brought PHP.
Let's come back a little bit.
This man called Joseph went there. He brought we're not bringing relationship in country no more. We are bringing in this country funding to change things in this country.
So the concern now becomes, these are all very beautiful things that you can point to, you can see them. These are tangibles that were delivered by former President George Weah, and out of that. And after all of that, he went to election to this man, and he lost the election. Primarily, most people have said he lost the election because people said they never had jobs, the economy was bad, and all of that. So then the question becomes, how did you handle the economy? Did you create jobs? The minimum you created, where were they? Who were those working? Or did you just lose it because the propaganda was overwhelming?
See, you want to talk about the economy. See, I'm not an economist, but I can give you perspective on leadership. Now, here's the dialectics. We had the opportunity and the best opportunity, and the people had it on our region. We created opportunities. By the time we arrive here, 15,000 troops bringing the millions in the country, United Nations gone. A 16 billion concession signed by BHP Billiton was in Bleak. It's 66 concessions that was signed before we arrived here. There were only 3 new. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you the whole country was empty. 66 concessions were signed. 3 were genuine and known global winners. By the time we arrived, 15,000 UN troops bringing in millions monthly were gone. Employments went in the dangerous pit. What did we have to do? 2,000 health workers were already drawn out of the whole payroll. They had no work to do. Over 1,000 teachers, call them volunteers, taking no pay on the standby. George, he is creative thinking, a leader who understands what it is to be struggling to feed the kids and take care of the people. You have to put those people on the payroll. Imagine hiring 2,000 other people on the payroll, nurses, doctors, to make sure they are not left abandoned. Who's going to be looking at that and still say nothing was done? That was just mere hate and envy. It was a system contaminated, like I said. They bullied the people. They bullied our leadership. They lied to the people. They disgrace themselves up to today's day with their own lies. When you bullet people continually, you are believed. Take that from me today. I went to school with some people. I went to school with Gregory Coleman. Ask Gregory when he used to be bullied in school, in class.
The man used to be bullied.
Yeah, you know, Greg was a fat boy in the class, and he would come to class sometimes like normal students do. You kind of like eat too much and pum, you mess yourself up. And we used to laugh at Gregory on Coleman. He used to come from the Otis spot, and he would start to cry. He was a crying boy. So why am I telling you this? That when you bully people too much, they get nervous. So they kept bullying us. And then instead of us being nervous, we were more vigilant, doing more for the people, but the people believed them. So people believed the bullet and the lies because they thought they were making sense, but they didn't know they were lying to them, manipulating them to come back to power because they did nothing for themselves.
So the stereotype, the CD.
The stereotype, the bully. Let's use the word bully because when you use the word bully, it tells the harsh story that was done. They went rounds in community and lied. They bloodily lied to the people. They diligently created these lies. They manifested stories that would never ever exist in our current dispensation.
Do you think the people regret now?
They are regretting. Let put it in English. Is that a Jerome or something? They are regretting. People are regretting or whatever situation in a continuous form. They are regretting because they did not expect such person to be president. They did not expect such result to come. They were angry. They wanted to prove a point. They had a problem with maybe you. They had a problem with maybe me because some of the reasons they voted was, oh, this person in power does not speak to me. This person living next door is minister and George is so good, but he's not good. That's not how it works in our system. If President Weah was a good man, is the good man, vote him. Why are you bothered about civicus? Because he didn't do you good. Just keep telling President Weah that this man needs to leave the circle, and one day he will hear you. It might not be emergency response. But people did not pay attention to details. They did not listen keenly. They did not follow the track records. They did not see the good things around. They did not see the APRC headquarters we built. They did not see the MPA headquarters we built. They did not see the NOCA headquarters we built. They did not see the Maritime headquarters we built. They did not see the NSA headquarters we built. They did not see all we did for the military, bringing in almost 10. They did not bring in, we brought in almost 10 different armored trucks for the military. The first that they built several housing units for them, and then a vocational school in the barracks, so the kids could go to school, that the parents could stay there, and they were being fed and taken care of properly. The military, the AFL was giving contract consistently to build the roads. The military, the one that built the PHP Park, they were partly there. They built the Invisible Park. They built their own roads where they are.
Even building the
14 military hospital that they said wouldn't ever exist or will have no possibility to look like a hospital was built by the same military. They had extra money coming in. President George Weah getting the leverages to get all the allowances while they were in Mali. They were giving opportunity. They stood up. The police stood up. The immigration stood up. And everything went beautifully here when we were leading. People just didn't pay attention to details. They followed the bullet. They followed the gullibility. They followed the lies. They followed the wrong picture that were given to them. Like I said, number one, low IQ. It's easy to manipulate a gullible system. We're going to change that. We've now ready to tell the people, stop listening to falsehoods. These impressions are wrong. Because people who told you these stories, they feel miserably 12 years ago. They did not even build a room to sleep in when they were making 5,000 allowances outside of their own salary. They were having discretionary salaries around here. When George Weah came to power, Sharif, he brought the system to a particular good organized system. The IMF and George sat down. They organized the financial system. We had the best financial system here. I bet them to challenge. I bet them to change it. And if they can, we will give them extra allowance. When we came here, we structured the pay system. President George Weah challenged all his ministers never to go beyond $8,000 and no discretionary pay. I challenged them to go to the procedure that they organized 12 years ago. I bet Joseph Boyka or Weekend Boyka and his boys to go back to the 15,000 to go to discretionary salary again. I bet Gafuan, who calls himself some economist and some smart guy from New York, Palava Hall, I bet him to go back to the old system. He was here when that system was here. I bet Gafuan to go back to that old system. Pay himself 15,000. He go to places and pay 7,000. Tell a driver discretionarily make him 5,000. Let another driver make 250, and he will see the rebel against him. I bet Gafwan to go and read something somewhere and say, we are changing every system now and we reorganize the government again. There will be no more harmonization. We are going back to I bet Gafwan to go and do that.
What's your thought about the current status of leadership and governance? 2 years, Mr. Bwaka has been leading the country. This is our country. How impressed are you?
I'm not impressed at all. It's a faulty leadership. Egregiously, the country has gone bad. Why am I saying the country gone bad?
Are you saying so because you're sedition?
No, listen. I like to be objective here.
Because
yes,
I want you to talk to us as
I'm a leadership expert, and I come here as a partisan, but I'm not going to be talking partisanship. I'm going to be talking the Liberianness that we all need to hear. Because the word is washing, must teach us
how do one visualize that indeed the country has gone bad since Bwaka?
I'll just oppose it for you. See, I got my professors, they watch me all the time when I'm talking. I cannot preach something else, and then they question me later on. See, every time I say something, it goes into my grade system. And I'm not going to fake it here. And I'm not going to make people happy. I don't make the false impression because I want to make my party feel good. But see, when we talk over, like I told you before, corruption has gone way up to vampire. We have to bring it down to a normal setting, right? When we talk over 15,000 troops gone to places poor, and then 2,000 nurses and teachers are all languishing. When we talk over people having discretionary salary, somebody 15,000, 7,000, one driver getting rich here, the other driver suffering, a driver building 10 houses, another man sitting, the cook is building 6 houses, and another cook can eat home. And those systems need to be put in place. We did excellently. When we got here, the roads in Weah and other places, and no public offices were built. We're living in a continuum in the port. The LPRC was being looking like you're in a slum neighborhood. Now, like you work in the ghetto. And the maritime was looking so bad. The Noka was sitting in the corners in people's buildings who were spending money in a very wasteful way. We structured everything. These people come to power and meet everything in place. Like I said, we signed all concessions for a road. They are not bringing in money. When we came here, Gafwan was already fired. Thomas Kedar was fired. Eloise was the only one left in foreign affairs, excused from all their clandestine. He's a good friend. But Gafwan was told to already come out of America and fire himself. Thomas Kedar, who's now in the USA, they all were fired because there was a clandestine action committee that stole the money from the Japan Freeway. And they couldn't complete the road. When we got here, we went to Tika.
You mean Gafwan?
The current Gafwan. The current Gafwan. He's always had these kind of scandals.
But he goes around as a saint. And
he's not a saint. They don't want to tell him straight in the face. I tell him right now.
So you mean he's stolen from the Liberian people?
He stole from the people. He's been known as a criminal. So he was been here before. When you were here, when we had John Molu told him he was a criminal. They're all from Lofa County. John Molu said, you guys are corrupt more than 7 times, like more than Judy Bryant, Gafwan's time. Gafwan has been known as a criminal. He's been stealing around here. He's been known to steal. They stole the money from the Japan Freeway. He was fired for that. He shouldn't even be hired again. So when he stole the money, Ticket 7. It was when George showed himself against having influence when we went to Japan. Now, when I say George is extraordinary, I mean it. See, I don't come to boast of a man I don't know. I don't come to talk about men who doesn't do nothing at all. I'm talking about men who had a hero mark in leadership.
But they're saying 2029, they're going to defeat you again.
That's mere saying now. See, let me finish the Ticket 7 conversation. When we entered Japan, it was a conversation of thank you message for the role you started for us during President Ellen Johnson's time, but it didn't complete. It was to meet and sit and talk about how we could complete the role. We renegotiated the deal and bring out the money and finish. We finished the road from the people straight to the place and put street lights.
Phase 2.
We did that job and we excellently acknowledged President Ellen Johnson Sally. That's how you do it. You respect the predecessor. You got to.
So Gafwan stole Japanese money.
He stole the money. He was being told that he should resign. He was in America when Ellen told him go back and resign, leave that job.
And President Bwaka brought him back.
He brought him back. They come from the same neighborhood. These poor folks that stick together. Bwaka was criminal kind of. It's a cartel because Bwaka was been fired for stealing before.
Okay.
LPMC. Agriculture.
Oh, really?
Yes, I got that information from Darius Dillon. See, I was not in that generation at all. I'm 81 born. I'm 45. Dillon been around. Dillon, the almost in a 60, the almost. So he knows most of these stories. He used to read there because he's with TC Good the late. So he used to follow all these stories. He got educated through TC Good, looking at him, learning what he says. He learned from people's mouth. Yeah. So Dillon is smart at that one. He can look at you and pay attention. He will learn from you. You know, Dillon so far is the only graduate from chemistry. There's a place called what you call the place?
Sempi.
Yeah, he said he's the Dukes for that place. He graduated. He's the only guy.
CEO in Sempi.
Yes, that's the school. I thought he graduated.
He actually go to Sempi.
That's where
he's a Sempi guy.
He's the Dukes for those places. He graduated from there. How many people have graduated from there? He's one of those. That's where he came from, became senator, and that's why he's still hanging in the building there. And to lie to people was an easy thing. But he told a fact. He said Boyka was a criminal. He said Boyka stole. He said Boyka was fired. They don't bring that story to us. We weren't around. I was not born during that period. So I didn't follow Boyka's story until when I started growing and then remember and then read story. So I'm telling you, Gafwan stole and we structured the role for them. We acknowledge President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for the great job that didn't get complete, but the criminal was not acknowledged because he and Kido had a problem for stealing. So the situation we are in now is to tell the Liberian people that we and these people are meeting again, and we'll be meeting 2029. And at this battlefront, it will be the brotherhood and brotherhood, the motherhood and motherhood, the sisterhood and sisterhood. These are people in different dimensions, but they're going to be respectful of what they do. Until you get brutal, then you face brutality. You get disrespectful, you'll be disrespected. At this front, we are looking for harmony, but you got to face off, and we got to beat you, and we'll beat you. We're going to beat you in an unmerciful way. Because here we did before, we're 14-1. When you beat us by coincidence, error of margin of 0.8% in a runoff when you gang against us, it doesn't testify for you as a strong person. So they might not have good analysts. They might not have good political knowledge, because when we beat you convincingly on a national, international scale. When you beat us by coincidence, anybody who doesn't know math will know it's called error of margin, because here what it is, 0.8. But in a runoff, 20,000 votes, that like you walking around.
George Weah coming back.
George Weah is coming back 2029.
How is he coming back? He doesn't have a party here.
George Weah is from the Congress of Democratic Change. George Weah is the leader of the Congress of Democratic Change. George Weah is part of the coalition Democratic Change. George Weah is still maintaining the leadership of the coalition.
How is he coming back when people are leaving him? Soldiers that stood with him 2025, 2005, 2011.
I'll tell you this.
They're leaving.
I'll tell you this. You don't know this guy. And it was good that I came here to tell you and tell other people to know him. And I will be trying to do that, find time to do that. But because George has not been carried away by people who leave him. Many have done that. And he won in 2017. I'll tell you the story about him being a senator. When he was in the Capitol building, there are 30 people over there, right? There were several of them who would come and talk to him, maybe get assistance, and they go. During the period of 2017, elections was coming around. And what I'm telling you, I want you to go and find this man who is senator now in Riverside County called Bill Troy. I ask him this question. You see, I call names all the time because I like to be specific. See, I'm a guy who used to pay attention so much to my English teacher. He says, speak to the content and context. And so I like to give you specifics. So ask Bill Troy, who's senator of Riverside, and he will let you know what happened in the Capitol. It was over 20 plus of them that ganged up against George Manning. We are seeing a senator. And they said they wouldn't support him. They were going with Boyka. And Boyka was the vice president, and then the same man was sitting vice president, was the head of the entire Senate, right? But during that period, with all those people with him, just beating 14-1 out of 15 counties. Imagine, disgracefully, you only won Lofa County. It tells you weak, and that's why I call him Joseph Wiggum Boyka. It's from that scenario. Winning only Lofa, but that's what happened. These going elections, they had a gang on him. But I give the credit to ACOP. I get the credit to ACOP. May his soul rest in peace. I had you
the UP victory 2023. You give the credit to ACOP.
This gun victory, the error of margin victory, it's ACOP that gave them the victory. It's no one else. I'm telling you, I got the data. I can read the data if we have time. The data are all in my face, and I can tell you that. I give the credit to ACOP. ACOP is responsible for Boyka being president, no one else. ACOP as a party is responsible, and I will tell you that story later on. If somebody wants an exclusive interview, they can reach me. But ACOP is the political party that helped or brought this man called Joseph Wiggum Boyka to the presidency.
How?
Now I tell you that because it's a long review. It's a long review, so I don't want to stress you up.
We'll schedule that because we got to take.
But take that note from me and tell anybody that ACOP is the reason why Joseph's a president, nothing else.
Okay, so his name is Silvigus Bazigia, and of course he's the liaison to former President George Manning Weah, and of course he's been sharing breakfast with us this morning on a wide range of issues. So let's take calls and hear your thoughts. If you're from the government, the Unity Party, and you have a view, you have my personal number, you can call me, or you can make use of the telephone lines. 10 minutes, please. We're pleading with management. For additional 10 minutes, 0776 104 104 086 500 104 Plus 231-86-500-104 are the numbers to call. Let's take this call. Okay. Let's take this caller. It's processing. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, you are not ready. Good morning. Good morning. Straight to the point, please.
I got a question and a quick recommendation. Question first.
Go ahead.
I would like I thought brilliant people in the studio to tell me exactly how many kilometers of road CDC did on the system.
No, the public where people can have them. The man's not an engineer. So hello, good morning. But he point to practical things that you can see. Go and visit. Go ahead.
We are calling from district number 5.
Go ahead.
I want to say good morning to the honorable man, Masikia.
Good morning, sir.
I don't know any the older brother and the small brother.
My name is Civicus.
Are you looking for older? Go ahead.
Yeah, because I get to the small brother.
I'm a man. Let us get problem. Please make your point.
My point is I want to commend him for a great work he began on and giving the people of Tiwita life because there was no water he gave them a safe drinking water. So I want to commend him on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm Eva and Small calling for oral.
Go ahead.
I want to say thank you to that fellow that in the studio by educating the librarian. And I also want to say thank you because not carrying the librarian people were there already. That who carried them today we are suffering. And today they are crying up and down in the street homeless because of their mistake. Young girl I used to go Momo last with our president knowing me. We used to go for community to community education.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you. This is Sasnoka. Let me say good morning to my brother. He's still there. And I'm the visually impaired.
Good morning, sir.
That is pushing for the return of the Weah 2029.
Go ahead.
And everything that he said, we cannot be repeating. He just added value to what we have been saying. But this is what I would like to see. We should not be complacent and say and believe that because Joe Black guy, because this is a government that pushing for second term. Do you sometimes ask yourself, why are they breaking down the homes of people? There will also be a calculator again to put the people in disappointment and make them discouraged about the all electoral process people getting around the election time. So what I would like to encourage our party, let us visit the people and give them some hope that in the midst of this fear.
Okay, visit the people and give them some hope. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, brother Abu, and good morning to the Liberian people. My name is Otis Bradley. I do join you for the most abandoned district in Montserrat County. Let me say what's up to the Lenzon, the leadership expert, the best leadership expert in the Republic of Liberia, Stephen Basiga. Let me say good morning to him.
Good morning, sir.
And thank you for your elaborate exposés on the great man walking.
Okay, thank you very much. A compliment right there. Let's take David King. Go ahead quickly.
Yeah, thank you, Abu, for the preferment. Let me say good morning to Sirike Basigia,
Morning,
the
sir.
man who cataloged all of the achievement of His Excellency Dr. George Manuel Weah. You know, Sirike, let me commend you for your brilliance in all that you have said this morning. You know, we came to power, we did not even take our seat when he got started the mischief that they carry out with the Liberian people.
Okay, David, I'm sorry I have to hold you there. Mark Duko, let's hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, Abu.
Good morning. Go ahead. You're live. Time.
Thanks, Abu. This is Mark Doko, and I call you from the headquarters of the Coalition of Democratic Chiefs here in Flonko, A Street. Well, let me appreciate the greatest Civil King Sheikh Basigia for the elaborate explanation. And I know he has explained very expassionately, and he educated people on President Weah's achievement in the world. There are many people who don't know the legend. And if you listen to one of the guy who came, he's an international guy who came on OKFM. He said Weah was a legend. And there's a saying that said the prophet is never respected in his own home. But we should make people to know that President
He said he's a living legend. But thank you. Let me hold you there and take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Abu.
Morning.
This is Terry Freeman, or they call T3.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think you got anybody better to catalog the achievements of President Weah than Civicus. I'm locked down this morning. I can even wake up from my seat listening to you and Civicus, and the way he communicates so effectively and precisely and wisely. And, you know, I hope that you guys can do this another time, because
thank you. I'm sorry I have to hold you there. The calls are pouring. Never call to. Let's hear you.
Good morning, Abu.
Good morning.
My friend and brother, Sylvia Baziga.
Good morning, sir.
Hello?
Go ahead. You're live. Oh, you've dropped off. I didn't cut you off. I'm sorry. Good morning.
Good morning, Abu Sharif. This is our Pakuya call, but
yeah, my brother. Go ahead.
Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for what all you have said. I just want to say to somebody who sat on another platform, called and said, Fubi Hemen, he said the president of Georgia are not doing anything for this country. Why the electoral push?
Yeah, but just tag the man. Tagging on this show, then you hear. Probably he's one of those that Senegal needs to educate. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Go ahead. Okay, so let me squeeze in the man Poker Rabo.
Yeah, thank you, Allah. Thank you very much for that great opportunity.
Go to the point.
To the point. Yeah, to the point. Let me say good morning to my expert, according the intellectual expert. I want to name.
I poke the post.
You know, there was no mistake of making such a brilliant account. Illusion of our dynamic president, somebody that know all of the totos about the president happiness. Oh, let me say this, you know, not to bore you too much about the lamb, is very Jamie. Seneca has very emphatically and categorically stated all of the happiness and the purpose of our dynamic president. And you see what happy is, I want to deal with the war. Somebody that could not save themselves. That's why I'll tell you what I was sitting here in Yanko Jonathan. Somebody that could not rescue themselves and allow to you say they can rescue you. Who rescued Baka when you were on a purported sick bag? It was a George Weah.
Okay, thank you very much. And that closed the call-in section. Civic, if you listen to the callers, a lot complimentary and all of that. How do you respond? At least under 3 minutes, they'll be out of here.
Sharif, I want to be grateful for this platform. Most times I try to stay away from these platforms. I stay on my page and enjoy the comfort of myself. But I chose to sit with you, and so we could image and re-image our intellectualism and to explain to the Liberian people the difficulties we face and how they all got swayed away. And now that we've started this process, we'll try every time to do it. And I'm grateful that a lot of callers come in even onto the time is elapsing. They're still calling, and I'm grateful to the callers. I appreciate them with their different perspectives and views. And I'm hoping to keep interacting with them. I'm hoping that they can find a cherished movement that we can sit in other gatherings and talk. You see, most of what I said, they were said intentionally, deliberately, and specifically. And the reason, because as a person who gets on these microphones, I got my professors and I got people from Washington, D.C. and New York and other places. They watch out to know I'm on the microphone. So I got to be honest, because if your conversation is data-driven and you quantify and qualify your conversation, and they got to review it, and you don't want to send you some reviews are bad. And that's why I try to be so very honest and objective in my very great conversation that we just had. And I'm hoping to sit again and talk more. You see, I didn't speak because I try to keep our people in a place where everything is Joshua. And I know they keep misunderstanding him as a man who is selfish or he wants to say everything. But then the coincidence is that he's quadruple blessed. He has a grace that nobody can dominate. And so most things come his way. And because most things come his way, it makes him feel comfortable. And while he's comfortable, he expresses that to everyone. He makes everyone feel comfortable with him, around him. Mm-hmm. And he shares his glory, because he doesn't see himself as a God, or that he doesn't share his glory with anyone. He shares his glory with everyone, including me, including you, and including all Liberians, including the country and West Africa and the continent and the world as a whole. So going forward, we are looking for these kind of conversations. Let's have it all the time. Let's see if we have the time. If I'm not in country,
we'll make
we're not in country, just let us know. But this was so very interesting. I have to wake up early morning, 5:30, trying to get ready, not trying to be late, trying to be conscious of the time. It reminds me about school days. You know, I used to wake up early morning. Mom would get me showered, and we get ready to walk almost 2 hours to school. My twin brother and I, and then we will stay to one aunt's place, and then afterwards, before they take us to real campus life. But again, to the public, don't forget, the only goal we have and objective is to bring His Excellency, Mr. President George Weah, a great man walking, born to succeed, Liberia's miracle child, and the man who does the unusual, back to the presidency for his second and final term, which is 2029. Don't mistake these mistakes that they are making around here, these unnecessary efforts they're making. Everything was done already. We did them. But I know it is out of anger. I know it's out of some different feelings that you all rage war on yourself. Please reconsider yourself. Get ready again so you can join the wagon. We are forming a coalition. We are recalibrating. We are recruiting. And we are asking, even if you're in government, join. Don't get afraid. Because the change that is coming is for us and everyone else. Just as we did in recent time for our 6 years. And being the second country, I think, through Washington Post, that was able to manage COVID-19. Imagine. What more could George have done? Such a great man. Let's bring him back. He's the change we're looking for.
Okay.
Let Liberia rise.
Thank you very much. His name is Sivigos Basigia, and of course, he's been a very brilliant guest on our platform here this morning. It has been a wonderful time, and this is how we like to go home on this Thursday morning edition of the Freedom Morning Rise on Freedom 87.9. Trust me. Like our guest said, let's do what we can. Liberians join the wagon to ensure that former President George Weah is returned back to the executive mansion. My name is Abu Sharif, and time is indeed another good friend. Until we see you, do have yourself a wonderful time. Bye-bye.
When they welcome me, they say they were freedom fighters. When they welcome me, they say they were liberators. But when they keep their time.